it's like I want to dominate a situation and control a situation and have power over a situation, especially if I feel like somebody hurt me, you know? But what I will do is then I'll go over to the tourist part of things, side of things, and I'll just look, I'll think about me and what I can control in my body. Think about my senses. Think about, like, have I been nurturing to myself today? Okay, I'm going to take a bath. Let me burn some incense and smell that smell. Ooh, let me go and sit on my favorite tree and tell her all about my day and tell her how I want to beat somebody's ass. And just allow the earth to absorb all of that, like, toxic energy that I don't need, and allow her to give me back energy that I do need. I'm going to eat some good food. I'm going to say thank you to my food when I eat my food. Welcome to the Tiombe Lockhart podcast. This podcast is dedicated to us finding self-sovereignty, self-realization, and radical accountability with sweetness, joy, and ferocious self-compassion. Hi. Today, I'd like to dedicate this episode to Paschal Beverly Randolph. He was a melinated doctor, spiritualist, occultist, many things. And he was born in 1825. A lot of the information that he brought over, or that he was born a free man, and lived in New York. But a lot of the information that he contributed, a lot of white spiritualist, occultist, Aleister Crowley, who else? Helena Blavatsky, I think I'm saying her name right. They get a lot of their information from him. And I think that there was beef between him and Helena Blavatsky as well. But he contributed a humongous deal to spirituality. And I'm sure that I'll talk about him a lot more. But really what I was drawn to was that he came out with a book called Try. And this was based off of his mother, who died when he was really young and he was orphaned. But when she was alive, she would say, try. And I believe he describes her as a more, but she would say try. And I feel as if this is definitely getting tossed into the accountability conversation. One of the ways that I am disassembling white supremacy is by letting go of perfectionism. Letting go of this concept that I have one shot to get it right. Letting go of these concepts that if I mess up, I'll get hurt. If I mess up, or if I don't make the right decision, I'll die or I'll burn in hell, or I just will get hurt, you know? I think that most of us spend a lot of our adult lives trying our best not to get hurt, when that's just inevitable. Like, that's what being a human being is. We feel pain. Even, you know, as you grow in spirituality, and as you do your meditations and do this, do that, you're still going to experience pain, emotional pain. It's not something that becomes avoidable. And I'm not saying, oh, just don't try, give up. I'm saying to try and to take away this concept that we have to get it right or else. And I think that a lot of ideas, false belief systems were put in place, especially for melanated people, so that we can be controlled mentally, and so that we don't When we were slaves, it was don't, have a violent uprising. But now it's kind of like the same thing. Just don't step into your power. Continuously look for a system that has harmed us for solutions. And I think that now it's really important, again, and I'm just going to keep saying this while Pluto's in Aquarius, but it's important to really do what we came here to do. And I think like just dismantling this concept of perfectionism will free us from these limitations. I think I talked about this last time, but we have a very slithered concept of success and what that is for melanated people. And it usually looks like being accepted at a white table. And I think that it's just time to go a lot deeper than that. It's time to do our meditations and to connect to the ancient ancestral wisdom that is waiting in our DNA to be unlocked. And from what I understand, we learn by mistakes. I'm reading this beautiful book to my son, and it's talking about like, it's okay. This person makes mistakes. I don't even personally like saying mistakes, but I love that it's not about like getting it completely right. I feel that it's more about living in your, like having a plan. Even if you're unknown, having a plan and trusting, and letting that plan be flexible with that trust, not being rigid with your plan, but being an allowing. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I do go heavy on the discipline for myself. And it's not just, I think some of us, when we think of discipline, we think of like whipping and spanking and all of that. But I think of it as just like structure, I think of it as like, okay, either I make my structure or I fall into whatever structure this world has for me. And it will have us going all types of places and emotionally draining, especially melanated women. Like this world is constructed so that melanated women can feel helpless when we are the makers of it all. But anyways, so I feel like when I do have discipline, I'm then able to construct the life that I want. I'm able to wake up early in the morning. I do what I need to do. I do my meditations. I do my journaling, all of these things. And then I'm able to like live freely within these 4 walls that I've created with doing my rituals in the morning. And so my message just today is just to try. And if you have anybody around you who's discouraging you and who's living just solely in their headspace and pure logic, get some new friends. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you don't have to get like, I'm not saying that. I shouldn't say that. But my point is just that it's just like, sometimes we can be so in our headspace and being so strategic and so planning and so this has to make sense and this happened before, so now this has to happen, that we can like completely miss the boat. And I know when we really move into our heart space, when we really move into trusting, and we're also doing our work and knowing that the ascended ancestors are going hard for us as much as we're going hard for us. When we really move into that space, it doesn't have to always be logical, because the logic that we've been handed is logic based off of like what has happened before in the eyes of people who have colonized us. This is, I mean, I try to stay a little bit in the safe area in this podcast, and then for Patreon, I get a little bit more in depth with like the astrology and the stones and information but I will say, like, we have to understand that logic is not the highest form of intellect. It's not logic. We have to understand that our ancestors way back would not even communicate with words, could just communicate telepathically. I feel personally that I'm a part of God. I'm a part of a bigger spirit. I know when I'm aligned and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, not what society tells me to do, but what in my soul I know that I'm supposed to do, then I can't be fucked with. You know what I'm saying? And so just trying and just attempting to do something different, even if that looks like speaking to your children differently than how you were spoken to, or listening to your children. I know for me, I felt very devalued as a child. I felt very dehumanized as a child. I was more of a prop. I was more of an accessory or something for others to take their trauma out on. And so just the fact that I have like a pictures up from my son to point out what he's feeling right now, even though that might be really small to some people, I know that that's huge for my bloodline. I know that's huge for my son, and we're breaking barriers in that by, oh, you feel angry? Okay, mommy supports you no matter what. I support you. I might disagree with you, but I support you. How can I support you right now? And I think that alone just like really, really, really is a big thing, bigger than we can imagine. And I think like sometimes we're so focused on the end result, we're so focused on the finish line, that we don't see that it's in the trying. It's in just attempting to do something better, attempting to go somewhere different is where we can find our joy. I think like my whole thing has been just like, I know that I can create the financial security that I desire doing what I love. I know that I can do that. And sometimes it looks like it's not going to happen, and sometimes it is happening. Sometimes it looks like I'm doing it, and but I'm just trying, and it's the action and it's the movement of trying. I think that we're so caught up sometimes in like, and the end result, and that we don't understand. Like, for instance, we can be so scared to love again, if we've been hurt, if we've been betrayed. But then just the act of allowing ourselves to be loved again, and even if that doesn't work out with this person, it is so sacred what they gave to us and what they taught to us, that we can then bring that to our next partnership. And so it's kind of like that, rather than just being like, I don't want to get hurt, I don't want to do this, I don't want to fail, but it's more of just like, I'm going to try to do this. I feel in my heart that this is right. And I personally also ask for external confirmation in some sign, a animal or something. Please show me external valid or confirmation. But it's about the accumulation of energies. It's about it's not about just like, okay, can't be hurt, it's about the experiences and it flowing, and even any kind of betrayals that we do feel. I feel like it's about learning more about ourselves and discovery of self. I've been so betrayed by people. It's so nuts, because like I really came here to learn about discernment, and I really came to learn about boundaries. And I just love so much. My Venus is in Libra, that I kind of like dive into whatever and don't really think about like how like I just give my love, you know, and I think about it later. And I love that about me. I love I love that I have a big heart, but I'm learning that I have to have discernment with that as well. So then when I do give to someone, it's it's honest and it's pure and it's safe to give to someone. But if somebody were to betray me, yes, it would hurt, but then you just take it to, you still learn from that, and it's about the momentum, and you still can, take from that, and you go to the next spot and go to the next spot and go to the next spot and go to the next spot. So my biggest thing is like trying, just trying, just trying to do your best. Not like fuck all the got to get it right. That's an illusion. It doesn't exist. So what I would say with the tools that I'm using to learn to try is to enjoy myself. Enjoy. Calling in joy. And how I like to do that is to work with my senses. I like to work with my smell and what I see and what I hear and what I taste. I like to work with the Taurus energy, that sensual energy, because it can turn anything, any kind of like transformation that you're going to, you bring it to your body and you bring it to the senses. And that's how you can learn to enjoy yourself, to where it doesn't have to be so strict. I know I have a Scorpio moon, and one of the things that I love about astrology is that whenever I'm feeling one way, you can go over to the opposite way, to the other side of the axis, and dip into that energy. And so when I'm feeling very scorpionic, which I love being a Scorpio moon actually, but when I feel that I'm being in my shadow of my Scorpio moon, which can look like wanting to, like for me now, when it pops up, it's like I want to dominate a situation and control a situation and have power over a situation, especially if I feel like somebody hurt me, you know? But what I will do is then I'll go over to the Taurus side of things, and I'll just I'll think about me and what I can control in my body. Think about my senses. Think about, like, have I been nurturing to myself today? Okay, I'm going to take a bath. Let me burn some incense and smell that smell. Ooh, let me go and sit on my favorite tree and tell her all about my day and tell her how I want to beat somebody's ass. And just allow the earth to absorb all of that, like, toxic energy that I don't need, and allow her to give me back energy that I do need. I'm going to eat some good food. I'm going to say thank you to my food when I eat my food. I'm going to put on some nice perfume. I'm going to dress up. All of these things I feel like brings me back into my body and into enjoyment. So when you're trying, look for the enjoyment. When you're trying, look for the breath. When you're trying, look around you and what can you focus on? Also like getting the lists together. Like I like my little lists. And, like having a list of, and I did this at the beginning of the year and it was so bomb. Like, what are my triggers? What do I get triggered by? What do I do when I'm triggered? Okay, what can I alternately do when I'm triggered? And that really, really supported me in stepping into my power and not giving my power away. We're so trained to give our power away. Oh, this didn't work. There's always something in the room that's beautiful. There's always something that you can be grateful for. And even if that's just a little smidget of something, then I think we can hold on to that and grasp it and cultivate it and let it grow even bigger. So finding enjoyment in your life while you're trying is beautiful. I think that a lot of us melanated people, we are very trapped into suffering. We think suffering is life. We think working is supposed to be suffering. You know, we think that it's fine. We'll just take it. And that's not what I think that a lot of us came here to change that, and to change the neural paths in our brains to something different, and to find something different. So learning how to enjoy ourselves while we work, while we try. You know, whenever I feel uncomfortable, not whenever, but I try, if I can catch myself, when I feel uncomfortable, I'll say, I trust myself. I trust myself. Giving myself like sustenance, giving myself nutrients, giving myself beauty, you know, I find is really important. So I'm going to go more into detail on Patreon for sure. But I definitely wanted to share this meditation that I made up, that I downloaded, that I find it to be really supportive, and enjoy. Thank you. So I wanted to share a meditation that I love to do whenever I feel like I'm outside of my body and my imagination's running wild, or I'm in my head, or I'm having anxiety or something like that. I personally believe that anxiety is potential energy, potential potent energy. So I don't really like to say anxiety, but just for the sake of this video and explaining what I use it for, then we'll just say anxiety. But yeah, I basically, what I do is I take some oil, and this is a whole bunch of different essential oils in here, just what I felt drawn to, and then I'll use a carrier oil. So this one has olive oil, but sometimes I'll use jojoba oil, or I'll use sunflower oil. And I put like some carnelian in here, which is really good for your will, and also your sacral chakra, which is what you need to create a new environment, a new way of seeing things, a new perspective. And then I'll put a little essence, my own little essence in here as well, if you know what I mean. And then I will just like take the oil, and I literally just massage myself, and I just say, I trust myself, 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 I trust myself. And I'll just stretch, you know, and allow for these words to enter into my tissue and my organs and my aura and my body. The body keeps score. So if we've gone through a lot of things, we also want to program the body with beautiful things, and that we trust ourselves, we trust this process. And the neck in particular is, if we have a stiff neck, a lot of times that means that we're very rigid with our perspective. We need to open up our perspective and our viewpoint. So it's really great if whatever affirmations you want to say, like if you're kind of stuck in this rut or stuck in this one specific idea, mulling over a problem that you have, or obsessing over something, it's really great to work with your neck and say it. I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself. I trust this process. We can bust that one out as well. I trust this process. Yep. I'm just like, oof, gentle stretching, gentle. And it's really like whatever you feel that you need, but it is Taurus season, so it's great to work with your senses. It's great to flow into our body and to trust. You know, this is a great time to trust, because Taurus is receptive and is the Empress, and it's just really good to work with that kind of energy. And as well as throat is Taurus as well, so just speaking, and you know, like if you're really having a moment and you're really struggling, watching your words, saying what you like, watching what you say over your experience. If you're having a challenging experience, speaking over your experience and saying, that's right, baby, throat chakra, if you could hear my son, but speaking over your experience and saying that you know, from this experience, good is coming. From this experience, good is coming. I trust myself. I trust my ancestors. I know I'm doing the work. Please show me solutions, and I trust. And I'll do the work, and I trust, you know, stuff like that. So just watching what you're saying, watching what you're listening to, watching what you're watching, and all those things will, I think, be supportive with getting back into your body. And this is great to do after a bath. And I just massage my whole body, and I just speak words of encouragement, words of trust all over my body, so my cells and my subconscious can hear it as well. All right, thank you. Ashe.